So we're really worried. There are a number of places, particularly in London and around the Thames Estuary, sort of North Essex and the Kent area, where there is an enormous amount of COVID. And if we've learned nothing else from the first wave of the pandemic, once this starts spreading, it'll spread very quickly to wherever it goes. So we're all worried about the workload that this is going to cause. Everybody's seeing much more COVID, and it feels like we're back at the same levels of activity that we were in the spring. We were able to do a lot of things back in the spring that we aren't doing now. So we emptied our hospitals and a lot of people went into care homes. We cancelled a lot of surgery, important stuff that needed to be done. And so we suddenly created a lot more capacity in our hospitals. That's not happening to nearly the same level at the moment. And you can see the consequence of this is we've got lots of sick people coming into hospital. Our intensive cares are frequently very full. And the end result is that the hospitals are full, so the emergency departments get full, and then we can't offload ambulances. And we've seen all these really distressing images of ambulances waiting outside emergency departments, waiting to offload. So I think people are more burnt out than they've been for a long time. I mean, winter and the early parts of the year, January and February, are always tough to work in emergency departments. I think the difference is now people have had a very disrupted summer. I think it's very short-sighted to ask people to cancel leave. All you're doing is storing up problems for the future. We can see a manifestation of burnout, that sick leave is probably considerably higher than it's been for a while. Now, part of that is because of self-isolation, but some of that is that people are just a bit broken. So we know a lot of our hospitals are very full, particularly the sort of South Essex, Northeast London. We know they're very full, and anything that they can do to free up space within these hospitals, I think, would be welcome. Nightingales may not be the most efficient way to do it, and the big limitation for the Nightingales is not the physical space, it's not the structure of a bed with a pillow on it, it's the staff to look after the people who are there. When you're running an ED and there's lots of COVID out there and you can't unload the ambulances, people often feel very helpless. And seeing an ambulance outside an emergency department is a worry for a number of reasons. The first being that you can't help the person in the ambulance. But then you also know that that ambulance can't go to somebody who's having a heart attack, a stroke, or a serious road accident. So are always pretty unpleasant. It seems like more than a year ago, but this time last year, we were talking about the pressures that we had in winter. The difference now is that bringing somebody with suspected COVID into a crowded emergency department and putting them on a corridor next to another patient is doubly dangerous, because you will not only infect other people, you'll also infect staff members. So the pressure is very different. COVID is a much more serious disease than flu. And I'm regularly looking after young people, people my own age, who are seriously ill with COVID. I don't see this with flu. There are some people out there who would try and make a career out of denying that COVID is a serious disease. It is a horrid, nasty illness that affects young people, and it makes people very, very sick.
When you say, is this like just normal COVID or long COVID or both?
So I'm just talking about acute COVID. I don't look after people with long COVID very often. And I don't think we understand what long COVID is likely to be like. It's right that we're following all these people up and we're trying to understand what this means, but this is a new disease.